Congratulations once again. Now awarding the trophy to the winner of category overall and Managing Director of Audi Malaysia, Mr. Timo Bushman.
Hello and a warm welcome to Sepang Circuit, the Asian Festival of Speed 2015. I'm Jonathan Green, and you join us once again at the famous Sepang Circuit in Malaysia. And we are about to get underway for the third race of the weekend. And piece of history in the making with the first few races of the TCR Asia Championship. Highlights of race 2, Philippe Descommes in pole position in the number 14 Seat. He was chased hard down to the first corner by the Civic Hondas. And Honda in second and third at the time. And the fourth place Seat of Kenny down into the first corner. And it was Michael Choi in second place early on. Kenneth Lau in third. Kenneth getting in trouble with the marshals. So too Samson Chang again. Spun round as he was in the first race. The experienced Hong Kong driver. But managed to get righted and back in the action. But at the front, it was Philippe Descommes. And as the race settled down, Eric Kay in the mix. So too Andy Yan, who came all the way from the back in the Ford Focus and looked very good indeed. But they've been riddled with electronic problems, trying to get this car settled for this weekend, and they just didn't get it sorted in time. And again, Andy having problems and would eventually retire. But when the car is good, it is very, very good. The Civics went to battle. Philippe Descommes continued to lead and extend that lead. And Felipe Sosa of Macau in the running in the top 6, having come from the back himself. So good day for Macau drivers. Rodolfo Villa, of course, taking part in the first race of the weekend. But it was ART's Philippe Descommes in the number 14 ART-sponsored SEAT, taking TCR Asia into the future. And Philip, the perfect man to do it, of course, runs the team manager and coach and driver, and finally getting a chance to see a checkered flag, which he hasn't seen in a few years. And well done to Philippe Descommes, winner of race 2. And here we are, and this is the live scene for race 3 coming up. And Sepang International Circuit hotting up. I'm glad to say the rain that we had yesterday has not shown up. And in terms of the championship, Philippe Descommes leads the way with 38 points at the moment, ahead of Michael Choi, who of course has been on the podium twice now in the first 2 races. Eric Kay of Hong Kong and Craft Bamboo is on 28 points, and now I'm sure looking to improve on that. Masahiko Ida in 4th position, the Japanese, with 21 points. Rodolfo Avila just behind him in 5th place. Samson Chan 6th, despite all the problems he's had. Felipe Sosa in 7th place, the Macanese driver. Mitchell Che, Kenneth Lau, and Farisal Hassan. Top 10 then of point scorers so far in this championship. Sadly, no points for Kenneth Ma yet to get out there, but I think their day will come. And of course, this is all leading up to the last hurrah of the season. It was a late start to the beginning of the TCR Asia Championship, but now it's in action. I'm sure a lot more people will be interested. And as we go down towards the end of this season, and of course the finale at Macau, I think we'll see a massive entry of both international drivers and, of course, the Asian drivers. There's Philippe. Thumbs up from the Frenchman for Asia Racing Team. Is he going to get the double, I wonder? Even in his interview with Sean after the race, he was saying that still hadn't got his start procedure right, and there were still a few things he wanted to improve. Typical racing driver, never happy, but that's how it should be. Last minute check, making sure that the car is as it should be. And I wonder what Michael Choi can do from the start. We saw that the Hondas were impressive, but they just couldn't get ahead of Philippe. And if they can kind of gang up on him a little bit, they may be able to make, this is the Jazz Hondas I'm talking about, maybe make an impact. There's no question that Philippe has got the measure of them speed-wise already, and everybody's learning the car for the first time. And Michael Choi, certainly now second in the championship with 2 podiums, a 3rd and a 2nd, would love to go one better for the Prince Racing Team. Everybody getting cooled down. You can see in the background there, everybody just trying to keep cool. There is Samson Chan for the Roadster Racing Team, and please leave him alone, guys. He needs a break. There he is, good guy. Samson, one of the best, and enjoying an outing in a brand new car. I think that's been the biggest thing about this, has been the driver's reaction to the car itself. These guys are all accomplished drivers in BMWs, in Audis and GTs, you name it. They've all driven lots of different cars over the years, especially the likes of Samson Chan. So they know what they're talking about when it comes to driving fast in a car. Now, these cars are effectively fresh off the line, and so therefore it's all a learning experience. There's Eric Kay for Craft Bamboo, really enjoying his weekend, the youngster from Hong Kong. And like I said, the feedback from the drivers has been excellent. They really have enjoyed learning this new car. I think Philippe Descommes summed it up best when he said that it doesn't feel like a racing car, but it acts a lot of the time like a racing car. And what he meant by that was it's easy to get your head around it in terms of driving it, but to go fast, it's very easy to overdrive it. And that is typical of any road car. If you've ever been on a racetrack in a road car, that is exactly what it feels like. It feels like you're out of control in most corners because they're not designed suspension-wise and tire-wise and so on to be driven and pushed hard, whereas a racing car is, of course, and they're expecting it to be slung around because they've got the grip, they've got the downforce, they've got the brakes that can deal with it. So these are very much a production car in a race suit. That's the best way I can describe it. And so far, as we head to race 3, Philippe Descommes of France has dominated the championship. Sean Henselwood is alongside me and just giving him a little bit of a breather. He's been working all day, poor lad.
Well, why not? Look at this great collection of cars we have here this weekend. But I was only just thinking as I was coming back up the stairs to be a part of the commentary team here for the TCR series, the TCR Asia series this weekend, just how good these cars are. This has really got me fired up.
Looking, aren't they?
I need to find somebody who's got some sponsorship money and
let's do a team.
Let's do a team. The commentary team.
Can we do a media team?
We can do a media team.
A media lovey team. We could have umbrella girls. We could do live commentary.
It can be all about the show. In fact, we could call a race from behind the wheel.
And we could get to the end of the race and complain about the fact that the car wasn't right, the track wasn't right, somebody moved the track, the corners were moved. It'd be awesome.
It would be awesome. We've got all the lines. We've heard them all.
We've heard every line that every racing driver's ever given us. It's awesome.
But it's been fantastic. Actually, whilst you were just talking, then you were mentioning that Philippe Decombe and the ART team are looking to try and put other drivers into these cars.
Yeah.
Sergio Fonseca, who's taken over the team manager's role this weekend, whilst Felipe would normally fill that role, is behind the wheel, was saying he's had people pulling him up and down pit lane all weekend, ever since the first race, to say, how can we get behind the wheel of one of those cars for the race in Singapore? So
I think that's been the sort of nature of this weekend. David Sonninger wisely getting this championship up and live and streaming. And okay, the grids aren't as big as we'd want, but it's the start of a new era. You can't expect 40 cars to show up right at the start. The International Series is going from strength to strength. This is like small acorns. This is the beginning of a new era. It doesn't surprise me that the interest is starting to show. And yeah, if you are interested and you're tuning in around the world, across the World Wide Web, please do get in touch. Facebook, Twitter, where should they go to?
Facebook.com/TCR Asia Series, one word, and Twitter.com/TCR Asia Series. Both of those will lead you ultimately to the TCR Asia Series website, but put TCR Series into your search engine and all manner of information will come up. Certainly the International Series website is very well catered for a lot of information. Of course, they've done 8 rounds of their series already. They started here in March at Sepang International Circuit for the opening round, but we will see them again when the TCR Asia Series and the TCR International Series join forces for the next round at Singapore in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, and look at where they're going. That's, I think, the other part of it. Not only can you join a series where the costs aren't outrageous in terms of motor racing, you can be part of something that's going to these iconic venues in the region. And I think that's, to me, the most exciting part, a chance to race some of the greatest circuits in the world.
Well, it's funny, when we were talking about the introduction of this series, we had 10 cars. It's a great start in all reality for a brand new category into a region when there have been some trials and some tests in getting a number of cars built in time. We're talking about the FRD team still waiting on an engine which arrived 2 days ago to put in their second car. That's how quickly some of this has been put together. The reactions from people. Most people will sit on the fence with something new, won't they? I mean, you hear that all the time. So there's so many people sitting on the fence. I'm under no illusions as to why the discussions being had with Sergio Fonseca this weekend, because it'll be those kinds of people who wanted to see that this would happen and would be a success that are now coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, we've got to be a part of this.
It's just wise business. I mean, if you're going to spend money, you want to know you're spending it in the right way, and that's just good business sense.
It doesn't help the series kick off, though. That's the problem. You need somebody to make that initial jump and that initial step to actually get the thing to get started so people can jump off the fence and join the rally cry.
Yep. And talking to rally cry, I'm delighted to see Andy Yan out there, just in the distance there. Here is your starting grid then. Philippe Decombe in pole position for Asia Racing Team. Alongside of Michael Choi, 2 podiums so far for Michael. And looking to try and improve on that and see if he can get the jump on Philippe. Samson Chan, Eric Kay, Craft Bamboo Racing, Roadstar Racing Team. Felipe Sosa of Macau, Mashiko Ida of Japan in the Roadstar Racing Team. Both of them 5th and 6th. Mitchell Chia of N1 Racing Team. Kenneth Lau, Prince Racing Hong Kong. And, 38, Kenneth Lau in problems. Andy Yan starts for FRD Hong Kong Racing Team in 9th. And I'm going to keep an eye on what he does for sure, because I hope that Andy will come through. So Ki Kun and Chan Siu Hong are 11th and 12th. But I'm afraid Kenneth Lau, it looks as though it's game over. Liu Lik Ka, who's also come in for the Asia Racing Team, Philippe's teammate effectively, is in 13th position. He had an outing in race 2 and we'll try to improve on that. He had a good result. I think he was 7th overall. But what a shame. Kenneth Lau, who had some problems in race 2 as well, but that was with the stewards more so. This is definitely a mechanical issue. I wonder if they can get it going again. That Civic by Jazz Motorsport, and of course Jazz, one of the biggest names in touring cars worldwide. Great that they've jumped into the championship as they have in the international as well. And I can assure you, Honda definitely one of the cars that you would want in this championship. But really, Seat, Honda, Subaru, Volkswagen, any of these, and of course Ford. Onto the grid they come then, minus Kenneth Lau. This is the third race of this brand new season of TCR Asia. Perfect conditions here at the Sepang circuit. A sprint race of 10 laps to finish off the first ever weekend for the series. Philippe Descamps of ART in pole position on the left-hand side of your screen. Wherever you're tuning in around the world, welcome to TCR Asia. It's a brand new era for motorsport in the region. Now, can anybody stop the flying Frenchman, Philippe Descamps? He's dominated the weekend. Will he continue to do so? We're about to find out. Out go the lights, away we go. And Descamps gets a good start off the line. Not brilliant by Michael Choi, but he's there or thereabouts. Samson Chan and the 56 on the inside will try to get a good start, and he deserves a result. Andy Yan coming in the Ford. Can't, gets balked, but slips into about 5th place as they head down towards the first corner. Felipe Sosa slots in just behind Samson Chan. Yan is there too. And Andy Yan goes past Samson Chan into turn 2, but the leader early on is that man, Philippe Descamps. So Andy Yan, great start by the Ford. Let's just keep our fingers crossed for his sake that he can keep the car going, because we want to see it in its full glory, so to speak. The Focus, that is. Into turn 4 for the first time. Everyone, line astern. Samson Chan's got away. No one's turning around in turn 2. That's a plus. And down to turn 5, and already the Frenchman pulling away in the 14 Seat.
It was interesting to see Samson Chan getting into the back of Eric Kay there, because he was a former member of the Kraft team back in the day with Frank Yu. But that's opened the door for Andy Yan to get through, and we really want to see this Ford manage to complete a full length of this race, because we know it's got great pace. The team know it's got great pace, and Andy Yan's been a real star this weekend.
Come on, Andy, he's up to 3rd already. I want somebody to challenge Philippe. I spoke to Andy Yan this morning, and I think the biggest thing for this Ford Focus team is that the team has been miserable. I'll say it out loud. They've been miserable all weekend. The only one who hasn't has been Andy Yan. And he's been keeping everybody positive. He's been going, give me that car, I want to get in it, I want to get in it. And I went down there during the break, during the Audi race, and the whole place was littered with mechanics and bits and bobs, and they were working round the clock. So I'll say they're miserable, but I'll tell you what, they've worked hard to get this car up, and they'll be very, very unmiserable and very happy if he continues on this vein. Brilliant stuff. He's up to 2nd place already without a lap completed. So, Philippe, look out. Here comes the Focus.
Interesting to see what sort of pace. We haven't seen it put one full lap in race conditions together yet. It's usually been bookended by being in pit lane or starting from pit lane. So it'd be nice to see a full-length lap from the Ford and see exactly what the pace is like. But he's taken Michael Choi for position. But how's Samson Chan? Samson Chan's another one where we're talking about adversity that could really do with a good result here in the final race here this weekend for the historic opening round of the TCR Asia Series.
Opening lap then of 2:27.3 from Philippe Descamps, and already pulling out a 3-second lead in that opening lap. How impressive is that for a guy who hardly raced at all in the last few years? He's right on it. Andy Yan, though, 2nd place. But Michael Choi staying with him. Samson Chan goes wide at 1. Will hold on to it. Eric Kay is going to try and keep him hover behind him, and Felipe Sosa is in 6th place. And Lulik Carr, great start from him too. The Macanese driver up to 7th place early on in the number 30, coming in for ART at the last minute. Just happened to be here, and he's one of those guys who said, I want to look at that car, I want to see that car, and he's got a lot of experience as Lulik Carr, and I spoke to him this morning, and he's excited, and already kind of said to me on camera, yes, I'm looking at this for 2016, I want part of it.
And that's what all this is about. So you've got to get these cars out here to have people have that experience to, one, get an opportunity to potentially drive and see what they're like, but also see them in action to see just how great they are. They're a fantastic looking car. The competition's great. The mechanics love working on them. The drivers are adapting to them very quickly. And it really has taken off. Whilst you were talking about Philippe Decombe's fantastic opening lap of a 2:27.3, the guy who had to work through the field, Andy Yan, 2:27.7. Oh, no, not again.
Mon Dieu, as the French would say. What on earth needs to go right? If it wasn't for bad luck, they wouldn't have any. The Ford Focus again slips out of focus for our focus on the race, that is. And poor old Andy Yan. Well, there's no harm in trying, and he has done everything he can to get that car to the front. And every time he does it, something gremlin comes into play. But they'll sort it out. It's a matter of that. It's early days. I'm not going to take anything, I'm not going to read anything into that. It's been the same problem I may have all weekend long. And so, I think it's just going to take some time. And you can't redo a car in a race weekend when you're, basically preparing every other half hour to get the car on the grid. So shame, but there you go.
And that was part of the reason they didn't introduce the second car. They had enough work to do with the first car. The second car is here. It's been built by FRD and not by Onyx the way the Andy Yan car has been built. They were waiting for an engine. It missed a day caught up in customs, which meant that Kenneth Maher had to make the decision to not drive. Of course, he's the man behind FRD, the manufacturers championship, or the team's champion in the last 6 of the last 8 China Touring Car Championships. So very experienced team. Andy Yan is the reigning champion, 2-time champion in China Touring Cars. So they're very fired up about coming into this championship and doing well, but they didn't want to rush things. And when they started having that fuel issue initially and then electrics with the Andy Yan car, he said, look, we've got to put all our focus into getting one car right instead of half doing 2 cars. And as we spoke about earlier, this is a very new series. In a lot of cases, these cars have been in the country or in the Asian region for no more than a couple of weeks. So there hasn't been time for development for drivers to get the hang of them. Eric Kay fires up the inside of Samson one more time.
Doesn't do it. And as those two battle, it's playing into the hands of Sousa, who's caught right up. We've got a really good battle here between the three of them. Philippe Decombe's clearly got a plane to catch. He's gone. He's off and running. 6 seconds ahead now, a 2:21.8 by the Frenchman on the second lap. But this is the battle for third place. Michael Choi's on his own in second, but we're watching Samson Chan, Eric Kay and Philippe Sousa in this battle for third place. It's a good one too, through 7 and 8. And now, I wonder if these three, as they battle, can get closer to the number 68. Going through there, Michael Choi in second position. Here they come through 9.
Well, unfortunately, we lost Kenneth Lau in the other of the Honda Civics. But if you recall, in race 2, he was given a black flag penalty and pushed through to the back of the pits. Now, we've discovered the reason for that was, if you remember, as they were gridding up, there was a little bit of shuffling of cars for position as to where they should be. He actually stopped in the wrong spot. So they gave him a drive-through penalty as a result of that, but he missed the flag. He missed the notification of the drive-through penalty. So in the end, it was the last thing they could do was give him the big black flag and say, right, mate, come in, we need to have a bit of a chat. All was good with the officials, and he started this race, but unfortunately, as we saw, he wasn't able to actually get under power and make the start per se, and will take no part in this race, unfortunately. So it's all down to Michael Choi, who 2 from 2 so far has been on the podium.
And it bodes well for Michael Choi because he's sticking around. I don't think Philippe's going to do too many races once he's out of this weekend. So that bodes well for the overall championship. So in terms of these 4 cars that you're watching on screen right now, Philippe's up the road, some 8 seconds now. He's improved it again, another 2:21.6, and he's some 2 seconds quicker than those chasing. And very impressive indeed.
This is a great battle pack, but this has been the hallmark of the TCR International Series in Europe. And a little bit of panel bashing, and that's the teammates. That won't go down too well for poor old Samson Chan. And it's the other side of the car that hadn't copped any damage.
Well,
just to even things up. So a little bit of contact there with Sousa. Hang on.
No, that's second place Choi out as well. They're dropping like flies, and through into second place goes Eric Kwong. And Eric Kay, as he's called in the number 99, is really happy with that gift. Samson Chan's got a chance of a podium, and that will prick him into action for sure, because Sousa and these two know each other very well, of course, having raced each other many times before, I'm sure. But now Samson has a chance of a podium.
little bit of activity there in the Craft Bamboo team. They can see what's coming. We're going to get Eric not only onto the podium, but he could be on the second step should anything happen to Philip de Kock. Let's not see that happen.
No, but also, like I said, I don't see Philip taking part in too many other rounds once he gets the drivers he wants, because he's a manager. He's doing this basically to kind of get things rolling. As you said, it's all new. Actually, the guys we're watching on screen now are more likely to gain in terms of points from this. So, especially Eric Kay and the Craft Bamboo team. And 7 laps to go. That makes things very interesting indeed. Ooh, bit of a moment. Bouncing over the curbs. I think the other thing we should talk about is that we're looking at 3 manufacturers this afternoon. Ford, Seat, who are on screen right now, and of course Honda. Who else should we be looking at? Who else actually fits the category in terms of homologation?
Well, currently there's a number of cars, but Opel have their own car.
Right.
Volkswagen have just introduced a brand new Golf, which won on debut in Europe. So we're looking forward to seeing that. We are expecting to see one of the Volkswagen teams here next year, and there's certainly been a lot of inquiry about the Volkswagen product, especially considering the investment that the Volkswagen Group itself has in the Asian region. So they've very much got an eye on TCR Asia Series. And there have been other manufacturers, the likes of Mercedes, have been looking at developing a car. Audi have been looking at developing a car, and Subaru are currently in the process of developing what is a very, very pretty WRX STI.
Now that would be quite a sight to see. We know where pedigree has been over the years of rally, of course, and Subaru know what they're doing in the racing scene, and that would be very interesting. Volkswagen likewise. Look what they've done with the Beetle in rally recently, in Rally Cross. It's been superb. And yeah, we've got some great names that you've just mentioned there. What a battle this is. Sousa and Samson. Samson Chan and Felipe Sousa of Macau. Sousa's got the better of him. You saw the pit board for Samson Chan, and they were waving him on the team a moment ago. Samson said, see ya, Sousa. Well, you might have heard the sounds of Sousa. You certainly heard that.
Well, I think that was just Sousa getting a little bit out of shape on the exit of turn 3, and really Samson had nowhere to go. They were battling for position, and he got a bit of a tap, turned him around, not an awful lot of damage. He should be able to continue on. Very solid little cars, these TCR series cars.
Here we go.
Let's look at the replay. Bit of a moment for Sousa, off the throttle, bang!
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, absolutely.
So you really can't blame Samson Chan for that. That was just a heat of battle. That's what they call a racing incident.
Yes, it is. 6 laps to go, and back to our lead group, and he's going to have to limp back to the pits.
That's just a guard on the
make
wheel.
it that far.
It's a guard on the wheel, unfortunately for him, and safest thing to do potentially is to just pull it up and let the racing continue on. So that's taken a little bit of pressure off Eric Kay now, and he'll be very happy with this. A couple of years out of the sport, competed in the Hong Kong Touring Car Championship, was the champion of that category, and spent a few years out, but he said this TCR Asia Series concept, or the TCR Series concept internationally, really piqued his interest. He liked the look of the cars, and there was an opportunity here to join the Craft Bamboo racing team, and he took it, and thought he'd trial how this weekend looked for a full investment into the series next year, and I'd say he'd be pretty happy with this, Johnny.
Oh, no. The officials have given Samson a drive-through penalty. Well, the race is really getting interesting now. Mashika Ida is looking himself at a podium right now. Philippe Decom is off and running. He's miles ahead of everybody else and continues to lead by some 16 seconds. There's confirmation, Samson Chan, given that. I think that's harsh, to be honest.
Well, this is,
I don't know how you're supposed to avoid him.
No.
You accelerate out of 4,
yeah.
And if the guy in front of you misses a gear, or I don't know exactly what he did, but he slowed for sure. Samson really had no chance. I don't agree with that per se, but there you go. I'm not an official.
You're not making the decisions. So this is very much a marketing exercise for the ART team, isn't it? Let's just show exactly what this car is capable of. So if you're looking to be involved in the TCR Asia Series, well, you know what your first phone call will be.
Philip is basically saying, here's what this car can do, and I'm the guy that's going to teach you how to do it. So it's a pretty good advert.
Yep. Poor old Samson, he's been in the wars.
What does he, like I said, what does he need? I think I might buy him a beer tonight, Samson Chan.
I think you'll need one. And in most cases, it hasn't been...
it's not his fault.
No, he's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. And here's a bloke who's been in the right place at the right time. 16.8 seconds now. That's That's very impressive. But really, Eric Kay doesn't need to push on anymore. Philippe's doing something for a reason. He's pushing hard. Because in reality, they're both turning laps within a second or so of each other.
Yeah.
221s, 223s, 222s.
And you were saying earlier that obviously the international boys were here earlier in the year. The times that they're turning aren't that far off the top boys.
No, it was certainly 220s. So these guys are capable of mixing it with international guys. I mean, but the international guys too are professional racing drivers. So the advantage you've got is in your ability by being able to do something repetitively all the time, as opposed to a guy that works behind a desk 3 weeks of the month and then gets in a race car every other time. You're going to have that natural advantage. And also the fitness and the amount of miles you do in different cars. All these things work for you, but the point we make is that the cars in the hands of a full-blown professional driver versus a talented amateur driver, there's not a huge void between them.
Philippe Descombe crosses the line again. Another lap completed, 4 to go for him. 222.8 that last time out. And Eric Kay still yet to cross the line, just about to now. And does cross the line at 225.3, the gap 19 seconds. Very impressive indeed. Well, I think if I'm buying Samson Chan a beer tonight, I think Philippe's buying everybody else a beer tonight, because he's schooling them, isn't he?
He certainly is, and why not? That's exactly the reason he needed to be in the field. We saw Rodolfo Avila set pole position in qualifying and then sprint away to victory in the opening race, the very first race of the TCR Asia Series here yesterday, and he's turned his focus elsewhere because he had other commitments this weekend, and allowed Philip to continue the development of the ART car, and that's opened the door for somebody else to take Rodolfo's place, which has worked out very well. In fact, he's currently sitting in position number 5.
Yeah, and yeah, it's been an interesting weekend. It's going to be a clean sweep for ART, and not a bad day at the races, so to speak, or weekend at the races.
Well, as I said, this project came together very, very quickly, very, very last minute, which is the reason why the team manager and the driver development coach, which is what Rodolfo's role is with this team, jumped behind the wheel of the cars, because they thought if we can't put everything together in the package with getting drivers in them, and in all reality, as Kenneth Maher explained, with getting his second FRD car on track, you don't want to just turn up and jump in. You actually want to spend some time behind the wheel. If you're a gentleman driver, an amateur driver that's investing in one of these cars, I don't know what you're like, Johnny, but I think I'd like to go out and actually test one before I drove it, just to see what it was like. And they haven't had the time to do that. So instead of leaving the cars in the garage, they've jumped through. Drive-through penalty, as you were pointing out earlier, for Samson Chan. I don't think that'll go down particularly well, but still, he's got a sniff of a podium at the moment. His teammate Masahiko Ida, Dixell Brakes boss from Japan, will take over position number 3 with Samson's drive-through, and we may well end up with an ART 1-4 this time round.
Yes, we may well. Through the first corner, then comes Philippe Descombe, and as we look at the Craft Bamboo team, they've also had some great luck with the Lukoil team, the Craft Bamboo Lukoil team in Europe, getting a 1-2-3 in Spain earlier in the year. And so obviously they are dedicated to the cause, so to speak. Now, I wonder if Samson's bothered about taking his drive-through. He hasn't yet.
Well, he'll know what happened to Kenneth Lau through ignoring any indication that he's supposed to have a stop. There was a definitive final black flag in that instance. So Samson's been around the sport long enough that he'll know what's going on. He's probably still fuming a little bit in regard to the incident, because, as we said, he's been driving very, very well this weekend, but unfortunately he's just been in the right place, or the wrong place rather, at the right time. How good do the cars look, though? That's, I think, going to be a big attraction in the interest of people being involved in the sport.
Yeah, and I mean, you only have to look at the dashboard too, also, looking in the cockpit and looking at the driver's position. Really nicely laid out and very modern, obviously state of the art, and I think that's the other side of it. This is not this is a new age for racing, and I think that's an exciting part, that you know that you're driving a state of the art car as well. I think that's another side of it. Certainly talked to David Sonninger over the weekend, and he's been quoted in the press. Very, very pleased with the championship and how it's come together. And it's been a long time in the making, I must add. And this is something that he and Marcello Lotti have been working on, both on the international scene and the Asian scene, for quite some time. And to see it come to fruition, very pleasing indeed. Early beginnings, as I said, to start with. But I think they're both buoyed by what they've seen, and also the feedback and interest they're getting from globally from manufacturers. And that's the key. I mean, you know, we like the fact that you get to bring teams to it, like Craft Bamboo and FRD and so on. But the manufacturers have also got to supply the cars.
Oh, absolutely they do. And this whole concept is designed around trying to create business opportunities for those manufacturers, to make it attractive, to make it worthwhile for them to compete. We talked earlier about World Touring Car Championship being the upper echelon car racing, but the cost and the investment for a manufacturer to compete, to supply 2 to 4 cars to be involved in that, is quite high. So there needed to be a modification to that model in order to make it attractive to bring the manufacturers in. As we're saying, there's already a number of committed manufacturers around the world, and a lot of interest from other manufacturers to get involved. And I guess to an extent you were saying it's wise business decision to sit on the fence and watch how things unfold. If you're a manufacturer, you've got a fair investment in developing a brand new race car. You want to see how this goes. Is it just a flash in the pan? Will it only sort of run through a year or two and then fizzle out like we've seen so many times before? Or will it actually stick like we fully expect the TCR Asia Series, sorry, the TCR International Series, overall series, to continue and become attractive to people all over the world? And that's certainly the model and certainly the way it looks like it's going.
The timing's good too. The global economy's improving everywhere we look, and I think that you know, we had that big lull back in 2008, which, you know, knocked everybody for 6, and it was very hard, especially in a region like motor racing, and those that survived it. In the racing team's side of it, hats off to them, because very hard times over the last couple of years. But now things seemingly on the up and up, and it certainly feels that way as Lulit Kar gets it slightly wrong out of 4. And he's got to be careful. He's on for a top 4 finish if he plays his cards right. Samson Chan has been black flagged and excluded. He'll probably carry on and finish the race in 3rd place. But that means that Masahika Ida, who had problems in race 1, will go up to 3rd place and get on the podium here in our 3rd race of the Asian Festival of Speeds, TCR Asia, opening few rounds.
Not a bad result though, is it? I mean, it mixes things up. Everybody's been in the mix to an extent. There's been great little pockets of racing. Okay, we've lost a couple of cars this time round. We're not really sure yet what happened to Kenneth Lau, but we'll certainly report those sorts of things on the TCR Asia Series Facebook and social media sites. But it has been good racing. Certainly it kicked off very well, didn't it? The battles through the opening laps, that first race watching Philippe Decombe and Rodolfo Avila battle. Kenneth Lau was right in that battle too over the early laps before he had a bit of an off. So it's people getting used to these cars, but we've seen a little bit of attrition, but some of that is down to the fact that these are, this is the opening round of the championship. These are essentially all brand new cars, so this is a great new concept. Philippe Decombe still turning out pretty good laps at 2:22.3 last time round.
Yeah, he's done a 2:21.4 as his fastest lap. Very impressive indeed. That's knocked everybody for 6, but he's marching on. 28 seconds his lead now. He's absolutely annihilated the field, and good for him. And well, it's one thing they teach you as a racing driver. If you have a chance to win, you take it, and you push as hard as you possibly can within the limits. Don't screw it up. That's another thing. Don't push too hard. But Philippe's got all the experience. He's not going to do that, I don't think. No, I've just put the muckers on him. But massively, 28 seconds over Eric Kay. I don't think Eric will worry too much about that, but still very impressive. Last lap then of round 3. Decombe comes out of turn 9. Just a few more corners to go. And this has been a wonderful display of driving by the Frenchman. As I said, he admitted to me that he hadn't really turned a wheel in anger since 2012. And it's been a while since he's had a chance to stretch his legs. Did the Porsche Carrera Cup. Done many single-seater races over the years. And it's been a big part of the fabric of Asian motorsport for many years now. Philippe. And his ART team goes from strength to strength. Been a good weekend, and like I said, and as Sean said, this has been a great advertising campaign for what the car can do and what Philippe Descamps, if you want to join the ART team, can do for you, as the Seat comes out of the last corner and takes victory again. There's the checkered flag, 2 in a row then, and 3 out of 3 for the weekend for ART Motorsport. Philippe Descamps of France takes the win, and we have to wait a while for Eric Kay and Craft Bamboo, but they'll be coming around the corner fairly soon. And here he comes out of the last corner. And congratulations then to Eric Kwong of Hong Kong, as Craft Bamboo takes second place. And crossing the line in third is Samson Chan, but sadly he's been black flagged for that incident, which I'm not entirely sure I agree with, but there you go. But Ida comes across the line and does take third place. So the Japanese has something to celebrate after being a tough weekend for the 78 car. 42 seconds adrift, and Lou Lik Kar coming in at last minute does take 4th position overall. So congratulations to Philippe. He's a man who's done pretty much everything all the way through the ranks from France in Formula Renault. Came over and did Formula 2000 in Asia back in '99, and of course then went on to do a little bit of Formula 3, Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, and now of course setting up the ART team, and this one will go on his record as a little bit of history as the man who dominated the first weekend ever of TCR Asia. So 3 races in the books, and of course now the car's getting prepared and packed very quickly as they head to Singapore next. And that's going to be an exciting time. And see that, that its heritage goes all the way back to 2003. I was just looking it up, and yeah, it's been very impressive. And this they'll add to their accolades. Confirmation then of the result. Philippe Descamps of Hong Kong with the win over Eric Kay, the youngster, in 2nd place. Masahiko Ida of Japan in 3rd, and Liu Lik Kar of Macau in 4th position. Faisal Hassan of Malaysia 5th. Chan Siu Hong in 6th place. Freddie Newman in 7th. So Ki Hyun in 8th position. Mitchell Chia in 9th, and Felipe Sosa, after being turned around and knocked around, finishes in the top 10 just about. The formidable face of Mike Curtis there to meet him. Wouldn't want to get a word from him at the end of the race. You never know how much trouble you're in. Stern Yorkshireman who's been around the Asian scene forever. There he is. He wanted to see, I just heard him say, I wanted to push the car to see how well it could do. And I think, you know, like I said, he didn't need to push as hard as he did, but I think he was effectively doing a test for the car to see what, to put it through its paces, so to speak, and it needed it. They've probably learned a lot data-wise and also experience-wise. It's been a good exercise for Philippe, because the chances are he's not going to race again, and very, very important time in the car to help future drivers, because they'll be taking on the likes of this man, Eric Kay, who has delighted the Craft Bamboo team. good result for them. Frank Yu, of course, doing the early development with the car. He too has had a chance to drive it. And Kraft didn't have too much to celebrate yesterday. After the GT Asia 3-hour race, they got into some trouble. But this has put a smile back on their face for sure. So let's head down to Parc Ferme and get the reaction from our winner, Philippe Decum.
Philippe, that's a fantastic start for the ART team, really, for the TCR Asia Series.
Yeah, definitely. It was, like I was saying in the beginning of the weekend, for us it's a weekend of preparation, so we didn't know what to expect. So the point was to learn the car, also learn the way it drives. And on that race, I kept pushing until the end just to get some valuable data and experience on the long runs. And yes, throughout the weekend we did improve the car a lot, especially on the race pace and long distance. And yeah, very happy with the weekend. Good result, obviously, good experience, most importantly maybe. And yeah, looking forward for the next races.
You've done a lot of work with sports cars and open wheelers. What are these cars like to work with?
Well, they're very easy to, first of all, very easy to maintain and to service. We are surprised. I mean, we received the cars last Tuesday from Spain, and just a bit of check down from the mechanics. 2 times 10 laps on the track, and it's race ready. So very good job from SEAT, definitely. Maintenance-wise, it's also very easy for the mechanics. No problem so far, no problem whatsoever. So it's a brilliant car, brilliant car.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. Did I improve my English?
So congratulations to Philippe, just asking off camera, did he improve his English? Here are the highlights then, and Philippe really didn't look back at the number 14 right from the get-go. Good start from Samson Chan just behind him, and likewise Andy Yan, and I do really feel for the Ford team today and all this weekend, because they've looked really, really good in that focus, but again, the mechanical gremlins coming into play, and they'd got all the way up to second place, and here was Andy Yan chasing down the leader after the first lap, but it wasn't to last, sadly. Good battle then ensued. Eric Kay for Kraft Bamboo, Samson Chan, and there was Andy Yan going out and coming to a halt again in the Ford Focus, but they'll be back, that's for sure, and certainly in terms of competitiveness, when that car's right, they are going to vie for wins, that's for sure. It got a little bit too close for comfort between Samson Chan and Felipe Sosa, and a little bit later, it was going to end in tears as Samson Chan went into the back and was adjudged to be a little too aggressive in that maneuver, and Felipe spun round, and well, either way, Samson Chan out and Sosa out, so whatever happened, both did not gain from that little incident. That actually played into the hands, though, of Masahika Ida, who would take the podium behind this man, number 99, Eric Kay of Hong Kong. The inter-rush man for Kraft Bamboo tried to chase down, but in vain, as Philippe Decum was doing a little test of his own, probably his own skills as well, but 31 seconds tells you one thing: the Frenchman still has it in spades. Fantastic stuff by Philippe Decum, one of the greats of the Asian region of motorsport, both with his team and as a driver over the years. Great to see him back in action and at the wheel of a car, proving just the kind of skills that he's got, but also putting a great billboard and advert out for ART and what the car can do. He really likes it, the SEAT, and it's a big future ahead, a new era for motorsport in the region. Congratulations then to ART Racing and to Philippe Decum. They win race 3 and now lead the championship 3 out of 3 in 3 rounds of racing, with Rodolfo Avila of Macau winning the first race. And here they come to get to the podium.
We'd like to invite Mr. Patrick Diaz, Asia Pacific Motorsports Director of Michelin China Investment Company, to give away
and the head of Michelin coming up. in the Asia Pacific region to hand out the prizes, and of course all
Third place
cars
for
shod in Michelin.
Racing Masahiko Ida.
And well done to Ida.
Second place,
Congratulations. It's been a tough weekend. He got stuck in the gravel at one point. Had to fight his way through, and he certainly worked for it. And that third place prize will not be forgotten. And congratulations also to Eric Kay. He really made a name for himself. Here, a lot of exposure, both TV and on the internet, live streaming, of course. And well done again to Philippe Decombe.
Triple for ART this weekend.
And don't forget the mechanics that make these things happen. Oh, there's Mr. Wait! Told him he should skip a meal, that fella. Mr. Michelin. So that concludes the first 3 rounds of the TCR Asia. We are in action, so to speak. We've got it off the ground, and I think a pleasing start to proceedings. 3 major manufacturers, and in terms of the championship, Philippe Decombe leads the way with 58 points. ART are head and shoulders above the rest. But Craft Bamboo with Eric Kay have kept them honest. They have 46 points, and Masahiko Ida, after working his weekend through, remains 3rd place with 37 points. Michael Choi dropping to 4th place after a non-finish there, 34 points now. And Faraz Al Hassan and Lulit Kar up to 6th place. That's how it stands after our first 3 rounds. And of course, they'll be back in action in Singapore. More racing to come from this brand new championship. But congratulations to all those who ventured into this new era for the sport. Well, that concludes our top 3 rounds of the TCR Asia Championship. My thanks to Sean. I'm Jonathan Green. We'll be back again to bring you all the action from the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, so stay with us.